power, fame, and wealth. Yet behind the headlines, President Donald Trump has faced moments of deep sadness and private tears. This is the side of Trump that no one talks about. No one sees the tears behind the power. President Donald Trump is often seen as a larger-than-life figure, bold, brash, and unafraid to speak his mind. To the public, he appears confident, unshakable, and always in control. From his business empire to the presidency, Trump has built an image of strength, resilience, and unyielding determination. But behind the public persona of rallies, business deals, and political battles, there exists a side that very few have witnessed. A side filled with vulnerability, deep reflection, and silent tears. Leading a nation as president is far more challenging than most people realize. Every decision carries enormous consequences, not just politically but personally, for the millions of Americans whose lives are affected. The weight of expectations, from the citizens, the media, international leaders, and even family members, can be crushing. Even someone like President Trump, known for his confidence and bold statements, has experienced moments when the pressure feels almost unbearable. These are the times when the persona that the world sees cracks, revealing the human emotions that lie beneath. Many people imagine that a president is invincible, that they never cry, never show weakness, and always remain composed. Yet the reality is profoundly human. President Trump, despite his outward bravado, has faced moments where emotions became impossible to hide. These are not signs of weakness, but reminders that leadership is heavy, that making choices that affect millions can weigh on the heart. Whether in the quiet of the Oval Office late at night, after long meetings and heated discussions, or in personal moments reflecting on family and legacy, Trump has confronted the emotional toll of power. Even during triumphs, there are times when victory is accompanied by quiet reflection. Behind the media coverage, the applause of supporters, and the political rhetoric, there are private moments where President Trump has felt the full gravity of his responsibilities. These moments reveal a side of leadership that is rarely discussed, the human cost of being the most powerful person in the world. The silent tears of President Trump serve as a reminder that no matter how strong a leader appears, the burdens of responsibility, expectation, and public scrutiny are deeply felt, and even the strongest among us are human. Walking into the Oval Office late at night, the corridors of power are quiet, the halls empty, and the world outside seems miles away. But inside, the weight of responsibility presses heavily against the walls. President Donald Trump has faced crises that few could ever fully understand. Devastating natural disasters, intense political battles, global conflicts, and personal doubts that no one outside the inner circle could feel. The grandeur of the office cannot shield a president from the human emotions that accompany such enormous responsibilities. During his presidency, there were countless nights when Trump would sit alone, the desk before him stacked with reports, memos, and urgent decisions that could affect millions of lives. These were not moments of pride, defiance, or public bravado. They were moments of deep reflection, uncertainty, and emotional strain. Even a man who projects confidence on television and at rallies carries the silent burden of leadership. Friends and aides have often remarked that while President Trump appears unshakable in public, the toll of the presidency is acutely felt in private. The loneliness of leadership is a truth few can imagine. Every decision, whether it concerns national security, the economy, or public health, carries consequences that ripple far beyond the walls of the White House. These choices are not just political, they are intensely personal. They weigh on the conscience and the heart, often in ways the public never sees. For President Trump, there were nights when the magnitude of these decisions became almost too much to bear. In these quiet hours, the emotions that power and authority cannot suppress sometimes surfaced, and tears were known to flow. These tears were never a sign of weakness. Instead, they were a release, a human response to the extraordinary stress, pressure, and responsibility that comes with leading a nation. They reflect the hidden side of leadership, where the person behind the title grapples with doubt, fear, and the weight of choices that impact millions. They remind us that even the most formidable leaders, the ones who seem invincible in public, are human. They feel, they worry, and they struggle, often alone in the silence of the night. In these private moments, President Trump's vulnerability shines through, showing a side of power rarely discussed. It is in the quiet, unguarded moments, the stillness of the Oval Office late at night, that the emotional cost of leadership becomes undeniably clear. Behind every president lies a personal life that deeply shapes their emotional world. For President Donald Trump, family has always been at the center of that world. The responsibilities of leadership may dominate his public persona, but the bonds, joys, and sorrows of family have profoundly influenced him. Like anyone else, Trump has experienced love, loss, fear, and heartache, experiences that leave an indelible mark. Even on the person holding the most powerful office in the world, throughout his life, Trump has faced personal losses that no political title could shield him from. The passing of close family members has been a source of profound grief. Witnessing the challenges and struggles of his children, navigating difficult family moments, and enduring personal disappointments have reminded him that presidents are also sons, fathers, and husbands. These trials, often hidden from the public eye, reveal the human side of leadership, a side rarely discussed but deeply felt. In these moments of sorrow, tears have often come quietly. Without cameras or headlines, a silent release of emotion for a man who carries both public and private burdens. Yet, life is never only about hardship. Even amid the pressures of politics and public life, President Trump has experienced moments of profound joy and personal triumph. Victories, whether in business, politics, or family life, have at times brought him to tears, not of weakness, but of deep gratitude and relief. Winning an election, achieving a long-sought goal, or receiving heartfelt support from loved ones has reminded him that success is more meaningful when shared with family. These flashes of emotion reflect the truth that even those who appear strongest must occasionally let their feelings show, embracing the human capacity to experience joy alongside struggle. Trump's life outside the political spotlight is filled with countless examples of resilience. Each personal challenge he has faced, losses, doubts, or fears, has shaped him into the leader the public sees. But it is the private, emotional moments that reveal the fullness of his humanity. The silent tears he has shed, the quiet reflections, and the intimate family moments all tell the story of a man navigating both extraordinary responsibility and the universal challenges of life. They remind us that behind the title of president is a person with a heart that feels deeply, who experiences the triumphs and heartbreaks that define the human experience. Donald Trump's presidency was one of the most polarizing in modern history. Every statement, policy decision, and public appearance was scrutinized under an intense global microscope. Every action was debated, dissected, and often criticized, sometimes within minutes of it happening. For a president, this level of attention is both expected and exhausting. And even someone as bold and outspoken as Donald Trump was not immune to the emotional toll of constant judgment. For President Trump, the criticism extended far beyond political differences. It was personal. His intentions, motivations, and character were questioned relentlessly. Headlines questioned his decisions, commentators dissected every word he spoke, and social media amplified both support and scorn in real time. Even a man accustomed to the spotlight and known for his thick skin could not completely shield himself from the emotional strain that accompanied such scrutiny. These pressures were not abstract. They were deeply felt. They affected his sleep, his focus, and at times, his emotional well-being. Behind the tough tweets, public defiance, and confident speeches, there were private moments where the weight of criticism became almost tangible. In the quiet of the White House late at night, Trump would sometimes reflect on the relentless attacks and the questions about his leadership. These reflections were not just political calculations, they were moments of deep personal contemplation. How could he protect the country he led, defend his family, and maintain the vision he had promised the American people, all while under constant attack? These were moments that tested his resilience and revealed the human side of a man often perceived as unshakable. In those private hours, the emotional cost of leadership became clear. Perhaps a quiet tear would fall, a long sigh would escape, or hours would be spent in solitary thought pondering the right path forward. These were moments of vulnerability rarely seen by the public, but they reveal an essential truth. Leadership, especially at the highest level, carries not just political responsibility, but profound emotional weight. The criticism, attacks, and unending public scrutiny remind us that even the strongest leaders face moments of doubt, fear, and emotional struggle. For President Trump, these challenges underscored the complexity of leadership and the reality that behind the headlines and the persona, there is a human being navigating immense pressures every single day. In the end, the story of President Donald Trump's silent tears is not simply about struggle, sadness, or vulnerability. It is a story about the human side of leadership. Even the most powerful individuals are profoundly shaped by the world around them. Their triumphs and defeats, their moments of joy and sorrow, and the personal challenges they face all contribute to the person they become. For President Trump, the public often sees a man of unshakable confidence, bold speeches, and decisive actions. But beneath that exterior lies a human being who experiences the full spectrum of emotions, a man whose heart and mind are weighed down by the responsibilities of guiding a nation. Trump's emotional side serves as a powerful reminder that true strength is not the absence of feeling, but the courage to confront and endure it. The silent tears of a president are a reflection of the immense pressure and responsibility carried on a daily basis. They are a testament to the challenges of leadership, the depth of human emotion, and the personal sacrifices required to serve a country. Leading a nation is not only about policies, speeches, or political victories. It is about bearing the weight of millions of lives and making choices that can change the course of history. It is this weight, often unseen by the public, that brings moments of quiet reflection, vulnerability, and even tears. While the public sees rallies, speeches, media appearances, and controversies, the private moments of a president reveal a far more nuanced and human story. These are moments of introspection, doubt, and personal reckoning. They show a man navigating complex emotions, balancing family, legacy, and duty, and trying to remain true to himself in the midst of unrelenting pressure. They show resilience, the quiet strength to continue, to persevere, and to face each new challenge despite the weight of expectation. In these private corners of his life, away from the flashing cameras and endless headlines, Donald Trump's tears reveal the human being behind the powerful title. They remind us that even those who seem invincible feel deeply, worry endlessly, and sometimes struggle quietly. Beneath the persona of a president lies a man who experiences life's full range of emotions, a man who feels, struggles, and ultimately perseveres. It is a story that humanizes leadership, showing that power does not eliminate vulnerability, but in many ways magnifies it, and that even the most powerful among us are still profoundly human.